Hello everyone, this is Joe from domainacademy.com, and today I'm going to take you through a long exercise showing you how Domain Academy's tools can benefit you when you're trying to decide which names to invest in. So what I did was I got logged in on domainacademy.com, and once I'm logged in, you can see right on the home page after login you can go to Tools, and this will load the Domain Investor Tools page, which I have up right here. And I'm going to start out with our data manipulation tool, and I'm going to copy and paste what I have in my watch list on another site into the parse section, which is defaulted on the data manipulation tool, and that's going to strip everything out except the domain names. So now I've got a list of a few names that I've put on a watch list that are on the closeouts today, and I'm going to take this one off. I don't like it. Three words, excuse me. It's a little bit too long for me, so I'm going to get rid of that one right off the bat. And now I've got a first name.xyz. So let's take a look at how I would go about using our tools to analyze this and see if it's worth an investment. Let's start here. Let's do this. We're going to go with the how many people tool. Let's start by finding out how many people are named Ashanti. So we're going to take off the .xyz, just leave the first name in. So I happen to know this is a first name. And you can see that there's almost 12,000 people named Ashanti. And you can see that it's predominantly a female name. It's the 891st most popular female name, so you get some information here. This is looking pretty good so far. We've got about 12,000 potential buyers that we know of. So now what are we going to do? Well, let's take a look at the Domain Explorer tool, because XYZ is not a main TLD that you think of, so it's going to be an alternate one. If .com is taken, you have to use another TLD, another to the right of the dot. So we're going to go with the Domain Explorer tool, because what that's going to show us is how many other domains are taken. So we're going to put Ashanti in, take away the just leave the SLD to the left of the dot. We're going to take away the TLD and look at how many TLDs are taken. Now this shows us that there's 54 Ashantis that are registered right now. We've got COM, COUK, CN. And we've got another 1,600 that are containing this keyword. Now as we start to go down, you can see that a lot of these are not like apples to apples comparison. Lashanti, Manashanti, Kasashanti, these are not Ashanti. These are different names, right? Yoga Shanti, Prashanti, different first name. So it looks like there's not that many apples to apples that this would be an upgrade for, because it would completely change. You know, Prashanti is not the same as Ashanti, so I wouldn't want to be named Prashanti and buy Ashanti.com for my first name, right? So we've got, it looks like just at a glance, a decent amount of other TLDs that are registered that contain Ashanti, but they're not going to be potential buyers. So that cuts down our market. So now let's go look at what is already in use. So you can see these are active, so they should have some kind of website on them. These are inactive, they don't resolve, and these mean that they're parked, so either in most cases have ads. And this is our best guess, so it's always helpful just to click and it will bring you to the next page and load the example website. So you can see that this is available for sale, so it's not being used, it's available for sale. We'll check the COUK. We're going to check the Netherlands just because it happens to be there, and we're going to look at let's go with a .eu. We'll check a .info. Okay, and we can check Brazil. Okay, so this is not resolving. This one just says it's taken, but again, not resolving the info. EU is for sale. Ashanti NL is actually a developed website. COUK is still not resolving, so probably not really in use. Let's go with .realtor. Okay, you can see that there is a realtor that is named Ashanti that is using .realtor. And let's try .shop and see if there's a commerce site. No. So you get the idea. The vast majority of these, they're not resolving. There's only a couple that seem to be either not resolving, either not for sale and resolving. And so there's just maybe a couple potential buyers. When we look at this .net, we'll make sure it looks like, yeah, it can't load. So these are probably not even up. You can see this one's parked, so I'll give you an example. Parked and for sale. So really, there's 54 that are taken, but just at a glance, very few of them actually seem to be developed websites that people would want to use. And they're like country code TLDs. So this is specific to the Netherlands, and they're probably not going to want to change from Netherlands to XYZ. So it really limits your potential buyers. So I'm going to say after a couple, just quick evaluations on a couple of our tools, this isn't really a great name to invest in. It started out strong when we started to look at, Ashanti is a popular name and it's got a lot of registrations, but as we dig into it with the tools, we find out not really a good one. We'll switch gears. We'll go to swifties.us. And so for this isn't a first name, so we're not going to look at it at a name. This is what Taylor Swift fans call themselves. So we're going to take a look at how many of these TLDs are available. It looks like there's quite a bit that are taken, not as many as Ashanti. There's 61 exact matches. Now let's take a look down the line. Swifties Matter, Democracy and Swifties Matter, Swifties Day, Swifties for Harris, Swifties for Kamala, Swifties Stuff, These Swifties, Swifties Nation. So you can see Taylor Swifties, almost every single one of these alternatives is tied directly to Swifties. So they're all different than the Ashanti and Prashanti. They're all being used as a longer version of a name that's already taken. They can't be Swifties because it's already taken, and so what they're doing is they're making it longer with 2, 3, 4 words to get the domain name that they want. So all these are potential for upgrades. They might want to upgrade to a shorter, easier to remember name, right? Like only Swifties. Let's see if there's a real site on this. And while that's loading, we'll take a look at this. It says it's not a real site. Swifties Matter. It looks like there's not a lot of developed sites on these. Swifties for Harris, we'll just check it because it's launching soon. So this one's not available. This one's not resolving to anything that's real. Same thing here. What we're looking for is like a really developed site that people might want to upgrade. So something with commerce or a fan club or something where getting an additional people to come with a shorter name would make sense for them. So far I'm not seeing that. Let's take a look at Swifties. Now remember, this is swifties.us that we had. So we're looking at alternative TLDs that might want to upgrade to a .us. A .net is pretty strong, a .org is pretty strong, .co.uk in the UK is pretty strong. They're probably not going to want to upgrade to that. But maybe something where, specific to America, like Swifties and Democracy, or Harris, Kamala, Trump, Swifties Nation, Swifties for Harris. A lot of these are U.S. specific, so, they might want to. Looks like there's coming soon. There's nothing built on it yet, but they might want to shorten their name, right? So these are potential buyers. So this definitely looks a lot better than the Ashanti one. Let's just take a look real quick and see. Okay, it looks like this one's for sale, so that's less options that people have. We'll take a look at this info and XYZ and see if they're for sale or if their websites are up. It looks like this one is also for sale, and so this was for sale, and XYZ is taken but not developed. So it looks like there's a lot of options for other Swifties extensions. So Swiftie dot whatever, that XYZ, for example, you can come and buy from someone else. So let's look at these and see if they're available. It looks like no, it's not being used right now. This one's also not being used right now. So they're taken, but they're not being used, which means that they're probably not for sale, or they may be expensive. So swifties.us seems like it might be a good name to look at. It's definitely better than Ashanti, just by our quick overview. And let's take a look. We'll take a look at one last one. We'll take a look at Brandwatch.io. We're going to do the same thing. We want to kind of see what TLDs are in use and how many people might want to upgrade their name. So let's see what we've got. We've got brand watching. They might want to upgrade to brand watch. Micro brand watches, that sounds to me like a watch that you wear on your wrist. Brand watchers, though, is not. So they might want to upgrade. Best brand watches, same thing, wristwatch. Brand watch 24, that's probably the same thing, that possible upgrade to brand watch. And we've got, let's take a look, AAA brand watch. So there's a decent amount of potential buyers that might want to upgrade. Let's take a look at this, for example, see if there's a real site build on it. It's brand wristwatches, so there you go. That shows you that they're probably not going to be interested in upgrading to something for a brand watch. When we think about IO, which is an important thing to designate here, this is .io. It's a tech play, so it's probably talking about watching brands in the tech space. So using technology to watch out for your brand online. So actually, let's take a look, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. We'll look on Google, and you can see Brandwatch, social media management tool. So it helps you to keep on top of your brand, listening, management, monitoring, right? Sprinkler. So Sprinkler's another one that might want to use Brandwatch. That keyword, right? They're definitely advertising on it. So this is what I think would be a good fit for a .io. It's a technology-driven play, not a wristwatch. So you want to look and see what tech-type companies are using this, just to see the general use in commerce. How adopted is it as a keyword by people that would potentially want to use it? Not necessarily you're looking at these two companies to sell your name to. Just what's the broad appeal? Is there a broad appeal for this keyword? What I did is I ran a research snapshot, which is another one of our tools right here. Takes a couple minutes to run because we pull data from a lot of places, so I ran it in advance. And I clicked the startup tab, so you can see that there's a couple companies. These two are the same. And then there's this Brandwatch Technology. You can click the link and you can find out more about the company. So you can see they're using brandwatchtech.com. They're in venture series unknown, so we don't know exactly how much money they have or how big they are. They're taking a guess that it's between 11 and 50 people. And we can take a look over here and see any of the news, and you can see that they rebranded. So in 2020, they changed their name from Brandwatch to a different name. So it might be less desirable for them to pick up that name. So now you have one less of the two. Let's take a look at this real quick. And this is brandwatch.com. So this is that main site that we saw advertising already, right? So we know that they're using that name. They might be interested in also acquiring the IO. They have a pretty large company, but so far we're looking at maybe one buyer or a couple buyers if we include the people that might want to upgrade their name. When we look at this, we see that it's about almost $8 to advertise. We saw a couple advertisers when we looked on Google, these sponsored listings or the advertisers. So anytime somebody's clicking on this, it's costing about $8 per click. So that's important to know because that adds value to the name, to that keyword. We looked already at these registered in the other tool, the TLDs and the ones containing the SLD. But what I want to look at down here is how many companies are using that name. And it's 14, which is pretty low. And the Crunchbase we just looked at the startups tab, and we saw that there was only 3, and it's actually only 2. And of the 2, only 1 is still using the name. So that's why it's good to look into this and research it a little bit more. So there's not that many companies that are actually using this keyword. There's 5,400 searches a month that are looking for Brandwatch, and you're going to have to think through, what were the other results that we saw. We saw a lot that were looking for watches that you wear, like a wristwatch, so that's going to further dilute this exact match search. So you're looking at, a decent amount of search at a high PPC, but it doesn't look like there's that many potential buyers for this name. Keep in mind that we're looking at closeout names, so these are relatively cheap. This might be a name that you want to get to invest in at a low price and be able to sell, for several $100s. Actually, let me show you this real quick. What you can do with this research snapshot is you can change this to a valuation worksheet, and we can pull comps, and this is really helpful. So we could see, it looks like it's been a while. So we've had these exact matches, right? But they sold about 10 years ago. The .net sold for $2,000. The .de sold for $6,600. Looks like it's double reported for some reason. Crypto Watch is not the same at all as Brandwatch. Brand Rep is similar though, and that sold for $280. And an alternative TLD like Co. So that is important because this is pretty close, right? And Brandables, that's totally different. Roll Watch, we want to look for ones that are close. So we could see that there's not that many. Smartwatch, that's definitely, you know, something to do with a watch on your wrist. Brands.io, $20, 2020. So we're seeing that these comps aren't really helping us a lot. These are older, where they sold for more money, but we're not seeing anything that's kind of new, that's recent and relevant, that is going to help me decide that I want to buy this name. I did want to show you this one last piece that I looked at. I grabbed this. We do have 2023 sales out somewhere, but just real quick for the video, I pulled this from Domain Name Wire from Andrew Allman's blog. And you can see at a glance what types of names sell. So this is aftermarket sales. You can see com represents the lion's share, and then org, net, co, XYZ, and IO, and then there's US down here. So you want to try and pick a TLD that we looked at in those examples. We had an XYZ, an IO, and a US. So when we do that, when we look at this, you know, com is going to sell the most. So we have to have a really strong alternative TLD, and we want to pick one that sells at a relatively high volume. So that's why we looked at those XYZ, IO, and US. And you can learn more about how to pick a good name and all the different variables that you look at domainacademy.com. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and also add anything in the comments if you feel like there's things that I left out or anything you'd like to have future videos on. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching.